Good morning, I'm Kevin Price. Delighted to be with you. Going to spend some time talking to you about you and your business. Going to talk a little bit with Liz Peek. She's a columnist with FoxNews.com and Fiscal Times. Going to talk about the 2016 presidential campaign, which I already feel physically nauseated just saying that. Oh, my goodness. But it is right around the corner. And Liz, I'm delighted to be able to chat with you a little bit and have really enjoyed your writing at both Fox News and at Financial Times. Welcome to the program.
Thanks so much for having me.
Well, tell us a little bit about what you see on the political landscape as far as this presidential campaign.
Well, let's discard talking about the Democrats because so far we have an anointed candidate, Hillary Clinton, and so far no one else has come out of the box to challenge her. That could change, but right now it hasn't. And, of course, Liz Warren is the most likely person, I think, to make any kind of run against her. On the Republican side, we have about 112 candidates, I think. It's an enormous field, and why is that? Because Republicans think they're going to win. And, you know, who doesn't want to be president? So we have a very...
My question is who wants to be president after all I've seen the last few decades. But anyway, go ahead.
Well, what we know is that Democrats only twice in the country's history have won the White House 3 terms in a row, and those were both sort of one-offs. It's very unlikely, I think, that they'll win again. So, you know, that's why Mitt Romney has thrown his hat in the ring. He feels like he ran a really tough campaign in 2012. Very hard to unseat a sitting president. Again, that's a rarity. But this time he feels like it's ours, Republicans, to lose. Yet I think he'll be out soon because I think the big money donors who backed him in 2012 have moved on, and I think they're going to encourage him to bow out pretty soon. Their favorite candidate, that is to sort of the sort of pro-business big donors, are looking at Jeb Bush very hard, of course, and he's probably the front runner now in terms of raising money, I'm guessing. But look, we have a lot of governors who are going to be in this race, and a point I made recently is that I do think that the conversation in 2016, the debate, and we've already seen this emerge, is going to be about the middle class and whose policies really are going to help the middle class. I think it's pretty hard to talk about those issues convincingly unless you've been there, unless you've walked the walk and made something of yourself by yourself. All the landslide victories in our country's history have been self-made men, and I posit that that's what we really should be looking for the GOP candidate, and that kind of rules out Jeb Bush. And I think a lot of people feel that, you know, the Bush family's done great, but maybe it is time for a game changer. So
yeah. So if you don't mind, I'd like to ask some questions.
Yeah. Sorry.
Your capacity to talk to is awesome. You ought to be a radio talk show host. But I have some questions. You know, it seems to me if street credibility or middle class credibility, it seems like Scott Walker would be one of the most logical candidates.
Yeah, Scott Walker came from nothing, and he's probably the first person to ever be taken seriously in this century, and last century is not a college graduate. That's pretty unusual. But by the way, John Kasich came from humble origins, so did Chris Christie. This, you know, it's not that rare. Obviously, John Boehner, though he's not running, it's not that
Thank
rare.
God.
But I agree with you. You know, Scott Walker is an appealing candidate from many perspectives.
Yeah, and in fact, he would, if he is elected president, he'd be the first president since Harry Truman not to have graduated from college, if my facts are correct. So it would be very rare to even find someone taken seriously. But how do you not take someone like Scott Walker seriously when you've seen what he's done in Wisconsin?
Well, I think that's right. It's not just that he got elected there. It's also that he defended against a pretty tough battle. And, of course, his major issue, the issue that most identifies him in the country's mind, is his battle against the public service unions. And I think, just as with Chris Christie, that's a very good case to make. I think that most people feel that the protections and the enormous benefits granted public service employees have gotten out of whack and that they are really crippling state and local governments. So it's a good, it's a good selling point.
Yeah. You know, what's interesting is that we were having this conversation in 2007 you and I would be saying we really don't need to talk about the Democrats because the anointed candidate is Hillary Clinton. And I really believe that her time has come, or has already passed, rather. I really believe that the Democrats have a pretty smoking approach with it choosing the short resume black or minority candidate, which means Patrick might be a very viable candidate for president.
Well, that would really be a stretch from where we are today. I think. Look, I mean, I agree with you. I think Hillary Clinton's a terrible candidate, and for this reason, she's either going to run on her husband's economic success, which the left hates because it had to do with the North American Free Trade Agreement, welfare reform, all kinds of policies that are anathema to the left, right?
Right. Or
she has to run on Barack Obama's foreign policy, which I think most Americans legitimately think has been a disaster. So, and also she's wooden. She doesn't embrace the, mantras of today with any kind of comfort. I mean, she doesn't, and look, she's a wealthy woman. I mean, I just think it's I agree with you 100%. Her time has come and gone. Whether Deval Patrick is the right person, I don't know. The thing is, Hillary has lots of money. And whereas I don't think money is totally influential in politics, it sure makes a difference. And I don't know. I think it's going to be hard. Liz Warren, to me, is the obvious choice because her name is out there. She's extremely, she's a firebrand. She's a voice piece of the left. And just like our primaries tend to go right, theirs go left. So I don't know. I think it's a possibility.
Yeah, you never know. You never know. I know this much. Patrick is a more credible candidate in 2015 than Obama was in 2007.
Yeah, that would go for you and me too, probably.
Yeah, but I'd love to get you back on the program. I wish we had more time, but you certainly know your stuff, and this is going to be a timely topic all the way through November of next year. What you're saying, though, Hillary might get the nomination, which only makes it easier for a GOP candidate to win, in my opinion. All right, her name is Liz Peek. She is a writer for both Fox News and for the Fiscal Times, and thanks so much for your time.
Thank you very much for having me.
All right, when we come back, much more for you. Do you want to remind you, best content here can be found over there at usadareview.com. You're listening to The Price of Business.